Ellie the Purple-Haired Doofus, and welcome back to The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. Today we're covering chapters 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. So I hope you've read that far. Chapter 16 opens with Kavote and his family doing their best to get along without Ben after he has left them behind. The troop is moving down the path and they decide that they need to take a rest. Ben's parents tell him to go find firewood so that they can both have some alone time. And there's a few paragraphs describing how Ben was happy to give them the privacy that they needed, because when you're on the road, finding privacy is incredibly difficult. When Ben comes back from collecting all of this firewood, he finds bodies everywhere. He finds that the entire troop is dead, including his parents. And as sad as this moment is, I have to admit, I totally saw it coming. It was an incredible scene, and it did make me cry, but it was also incredibly predictable. When he gets back to his troops and he finds all these bodies, Kavote actually sees a man and all of these creatures around him. And the man is named Haliax? I have no idea if I'm saying that right. I hope I am. When I heard the description of this man, I instantly thought of Anthony Head from Buffy the Vampire Slayer and Merlin playing this man/creature that is controlling all of the other smaller creatures around. One of the small creatures that he is controlling is named Cinder, and he's got like this kind of hiss to his voice. I don't remember if the author actually said that he was hissing, but the way that he was writing him, I imagined the hyenas from The Lion King, and just someone who screamed vile when he spoke. All of the creatures gather around Haliax and they disappear in a giant shadow, and Kavote is left there alone with all of the bodies. He gathers up what he can and he walks into the forest alone as the sole survivor. The next chapter takes us back to the tavern where Kavote is telling his story to the chronicler, and we find out that the chronicler and Bast have truly made peace as Kavote goes off to make food and get firewood. And we find out that he wasn't really just getting food and getting firewood. He wanted to be alone so that he could weep privately over the loss of his parents. And I can't say that I blame him. It was an incredibly traumatic scene just to read. To experience that would be, I don't know, devastating to someone's soul. The next chapter talks about Kavote living off the land of the forest and dreaming of survival advice from Ben. So he never actually got this advice from Ben, but dreaming about what he's telling him to do in order to survive the wildlife. It also talks about Ben isolating himself in the depression of losing his family and everyone he's ever known. And I really empathize with that trait because it's exactly what I did when I experienced loss. Near the end of the chapter, there's a scene where Kavote actually catches a rabbit and he can't kill it for food. He finds himself unable to kill, even if it is for his own survival. One of the things that Kavote grabbed up after his troop was killed was a lute, because it was what his father played for him and it was his only memory of his parents that was left. And he found that playing the lute while in isolation, while it didn't cure his depression, it at least kept it from getting worse. As he's playing, the strings slowly start to break one by one. He decides to take the lute into town to try and get it fixed, so that he can continue to play it and find the resolution that he so desperately needs in his life right now. As he's walking towards town, a group of farmers stop and they ask him if he needs a ride because he looks horrible, because he hasn't bathed in months and he looks malnourished and he looks the worse for wear. And the farmers take him in and drive him into town. I'll be honest, when I first saw these farmers driving up, I was like, don't take it. It's a trap. They're gonna do horrible things to you. Because I watch way too many horror movies. Once they get into town, the farmers offer to take Kavote in and adopt him and make them one of his family. Kavote gives him a thank you so much for the offer, but I'm not really interested. I just really want to get my loot fixed and go back into isolation. And the farmers say that's fine, do what you want, but we will be here until sundown. So if you change your mind, please come back to us. We would love to have you working for us on our farm. As Kavote is walking around town trying to get his strings fixed, he is actually attacked by punks, and they take whatever they can from him, and his loot actually breaks in the attack. During the attack, someone actually steps in and stops the attackers, but at the same time, after the attackers leave, the person who stopped the attack actually robs Kavote and leaves his body broken in the street. So at the end of the day, Kavote is very, very downtrodden, and he tries to run back to the farmers as fast as he possibly can. But by the time he gets back to the spot where they said they would be, they're already gone. And Kavote reaches kind of like the bottom of the barrel moment in his life. Since this chapter is all about how Kavote dealt with the depressing loss of his family and friends and everyone that he knew, how exactly do you deal with loss? What exactly do you do? And I will answer that for you tomorrow. Today's question isn't that easy either. Today's question is, when was the last time that you got left behind while someone else moved on and improved in their life? I had this really close friend that I talked to almost every week for at least 3 hours every week. And we got really close because we had been talking to each other for nearly 5 years, maybe even more than that. And so we knew each other so closely that if we didn't hear from each other, we knew that there was something wrong. In March of last year, I actually got a note from this friend who said that they had found someone new in their life, who said that they had found a wonderful new companion in their life, who they loved with all their heart and they hoped to spend the rest of their life with. And I couldn't be happier for them. But then they said something else. They told me that this person was incredibly jealous of the relationship that I and her had. And that the only way that they could be together would be to cut me off from their life. And that was the only way that they could be comfortable. And my friend was so in love and so completely smitten with them that they decided to cut me off and leave me behind. It was a difficult and dark time for me. So I'm just going to leave it there and move on to happier subjects. Like more reading, because everyone loves reading, right? I'm still unsure about what my next book will be, but as soon as I know, I will definitely let you know. I have been the purple-haired doofus, reminding you to watch your pajama radius, and I will see you all in the next chapters of The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. Toodles!